Okay, here we are. Let me just, goodness me, I'm replying to comments. I can't help myself. Um, okay, hello everyone. There you are. How you doing? It's good to be back. It is good to be back. How are you all? Thank you for joining me today. Yep, I am back from my holidays. I had a lovely time. Thank you. It was great. It was nice and relaxing. Got lots of sun, got lots of sea, got lots of all the other things. It was wonderful. Got lots of sunburn as well, not on my face, but there's a lot of sunburn there and on my legs and everything like that, because hey, you know, we Englishmen, we never learn. We never learn. Anyhow, hi from Leicester, UK. Hola from Barcelona. Fantastic. There you all are. Okay, there's just a few of you so far, but I'm hoping more are going to join. So, how are we all doing? Can I do a quick sound check? Is everyone hearing me okay? Is everyone seeing me okay? I don't know which is I don't know which is harder. Okay. Do some Bogdanov memes soon. Yeah, I must get back to doing Bogdanov memes. I must. How is everyone? Okay, people joining from Italy. I saw someone from Rotterdam there. Greece, Barcelona, Leicester. Kemcho, is that a place or is that some? Okay, welcome back. Thank you very much. From Swiss, from Memphis. Hello, Mark. Memphis. I haven't been to Memphis. It was on my list last time I was in the States. Well, last time I was in the States was Miami, and I wasn't really going anywhere else then. But yeah, last time I was in the States for any length of time, Memphis, I didn't make it as far as, but maybe next time. South Carolina, USA. Someone just saying, Guy. Yes, it is. It is I. It is Guy. How are you all doing, folks? Thank you for joining me today. I'm doing very well, thanks, Fazil. I'm doing very well indeed. I have just about shaken off the cold that I picked up on holiday. So yes, anyone wondering, I was away in beautiful Zanzibar last week. My wife and I took our first holiday together in 2 or maybe even 3 years. And it was wonderful. We had a week in the north part of Zanzibar, and it was beautiful. Beautiful beaches, beautiful sea, amazing food. The people were wonderful, and it's a really lovely place, Zanzibar. Very chilled out. I highly recommend it. So if any of you get the chance in the future, do go and check out Zanzibar. And I don't know if any of you saw it. I posted it on Instagram. But when we got to this hotel, we got there sort of fairly late in the afternoon on the Friday, and out on there were some holiday bungalows just opposite, and they had a banner that had this sort of concrete archway leading into it, and they had "We accept crypto coin" on it, and they had the Bitcoin, Ethereum logos. They had, what else did they accept? They accepted XRP, Doge, SHIB, obviously, and also Luna. So I don't know if that had been something that they'd stopped accepting crypto, or maybe the news just hadn't filtered through to Zanzibar about Luna yet. Anyhow, I didn't enlighten them one way or another, but so that was a nice start to holiday. Go and see some crypto adoption in Zanzibar. Anyway, I want to see where all of you are from. Go to China. As much as I'd love to see China, I just don't feel. No, especially yeah. Did you guys see that footage from the CCP congress, whatever they call it, where they kind of led that former president out? That was really, really scary, wasn't it? Hu Jintao, he was just sort of, he looked a bit confused and upset, and they just sort of led him out. That was straight out of 1984, wasn't it? That was weird. Anyhow, so that, and many other kind of reasons. China's not top of my list, although I'm sure it's a wonderful place. Ahmad from Dubai. Well, that makes 2 of us. I must say, I had a wonderful experience here in Dubai. I got some locals took me to a barbecue that they were doing out in the desert. It was amazing. Yeah, really, really interesting. Got to talk to a lot of local Emirati guys. They're all absolutely mad keen on crypto here. You'll be pleased to know, which is one of the reasons I'm here. Anyhow, so Antwerpen, Brussels, India, Oxnard, California. Big hello from Greece. You're always welcome. Thanks, Emilio. Thanks. I haven't been to Greece for a long time. Germany, China. Okay. Right. How are we all doing? Desert barbecue. Yeah. Beauty mode on. The lighting in here is just very soft. It's just very soft for the people on TikTok, because I know how young our TikTok audience is. I'm just trying to look. I'm just trying to look a little better. Mind you, that said, I may well have beauty mode on and not not know how. Oh, maybe I have. Hang on. I'm going to try pressing a button here. Sorry, everyone watching on clips. Enhance. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. No, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it. I don't. If I have got beauty mode on, I mean, sure, great. anything to improve on what we've got going on here. Poland, Bruges, the UK, Holland, Canada. I'm going to talk about the UK because obviously we have a new crypto-friendly prime minister now. Our third in what, 2 months, 3 months, or something like that. It's all go back in the UK, folks. It's all go. From Colombia, more people in the UK. UK here, friends. Okay, great. Essex, yes. Essex, representing Essex. It's good to see you all, folks. So first up, let's crack on. So first up, my apologies for not live streaming last week. As I said, I was on holiday with the missus, and we had a lovely time. I did consider live streaming from our little holiday villa overlooking the Indian Ocean, and then I thought I would spare you all that. Actually, the internet there was a little bit unreliable. So we probably would have gone back to the old sort of classic Coin Bureau live streams of old, where we'd be very, very lucky if we managed to go 10 minutes at a stretch without any sort of massive technical foobar. So we don't want that anyway. We don't want the bad old days of jumpy Coin Bureau live streams. We like this nice and smooth, this smooth, flawless experience. So anyhow, we'll take a quick look at the charts in just a moment. But what am I going to talk about today? We've obviously got a Fed meeting coming up very soon. That's next week. That's something to look forward to, isn't it? I'm going to tell you folks the big macro factor to look out for. You know how much I've been banging on about macro factors recently, folks. The big macro factor to look out for. I'm going to let you know that in just a few moments' time. We'll talk about our new crypto bro prime minister. We'll talk about Meta. We'll talk about kind of tech stocks in general. Tech has had a bad week, very bad week. Credit Suisse, they've had a bad week too. And of course, I'm going to try and get a little bit to the bottom of why we have seen this rally over the past couple of days, because believe it or not, this is actually, the charts are looking really green at the moment. Now, ever since we've been doing these live streams together, it's basically the crypto market has just been dumping pretty much solidly every time. So yeah, it's going to be nice to have a little bit of a green day to talk about today. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about why I think ETH in particular has rallied. ETH has had a great week. What else? We'll talk about Singapore. We will talk about a few more few interesting points that I've sort of made a note of over the last week or so with reference to the crypto markets. Don't worry, it won't all be macro, folks. I want to sound you folks out about a few things. We are going to talk a little bit about Aptos as well. Yep, Aptos, got to talk about it. I have quite a lot to say about Aptos. So might talk about Near Protocol as well, might just touch briefly on Clayton. We have to talk a little bit about SBF, don't we? Why is it the big CEOs of crypto exchanges are now just referred to by their initials? Is there a kind of ceremony or something? So we're going to talk about SBF's regulation proposals, touch on those. We've obviously the old saga of Elon Musk and Twitter. Now, this is obviously pretty relevant to the crypto market and to everything else, I think. I think this could have a lot of impact over the next few weeks. So we'll talk about Twitter and Elon, who's been doing funny things with a sink recently. And obviously the cryptos that pumped off the butt of that. Hello from sunny Cleethorpes. Wow. Don't tell me, Austin, don't tell me Cleethorpes is sunny right now. Surely not. And yeah, I think that's probably enough for us to be getting on with, isn't it? Enough things to talk about. So before we kind of dive into it properly, damn, I'm working and can't listen. Could you write everything on a paper and show me? Yeah, sure. Has anyone got a pen? Has anyone got? Yeah, I'll write that all down for you. Don't worry, sir. Okay. Well, you don't ask, you don't get. Okay, let's refresh old CoinGecko. Look at that. Bitcoin, 20,593. ETH, 1,550. It's looking good, isn't it? Wow, Doge pumped, God, 30.6% over the week. Well, we all know why that is, don't we? By the way, clips, I'm afraid you can see it on TikTok if I lean right out of the picture really unprofessionally. How do you like the new live sign? What do you think? Is that doing it for you? This is the one that when we tried a live stream, well, when we did a live stream a couple of weeks ago, just before I went on holiday, we tried sticking it to the wall, and pretty much the first thing that happened in the stream was it fell off, which, funnily enough, the stream went actually, I thought, pretty well after that. I was surprised. When that happened, I kind of thought, wow, this is going to be an absolute catastrophe. But there we are. There we are. Bro, why the owl? Sebastian, you haven't been keeping up. This is Jerome Owl. He is my lucky mascot. He oversees these live streams. He's very interested in everything that's happening at the Fed. Don't get him started on Fed policy, otherwise he'll never shut up, a bit like me. Anyhow, it has been a good week for crypto. I'm just having a look at. I'm just seeing what else has really pumped. I noticed just in time for the live stream on the 1 hour time frame, things are starting to go down again. So they must have known I was back from holiday and about to stream. But I must say it's been a very heartening week. I've actually been looking at the charts a bit this week, folks. That is the state of it. What else has been doing well? Wow, Ethereum Classic, that's a good week. Everything has. Tokenized exchange, I still need to dig into that. And of course, Aptos, wow, up 27.2%. Aptos. Okay. So how's Jerome Al doing? Tarek, he's doing very well, thanks. He was lonely without me last week. He was sat in here all on his own last week. He's very pleased to have me back. He's very disappointed. Oh, I forgot to bring him in. So I bought, much to my wife's consternation, I bought another little owl whilst I was on holiday. This one made out of wood, absolutely beautiful. Jerome is not happy about that, I can tell you. Anyway, talk about crypto, guy. Talk about something other than your holiday. All right. Why is Doge up 14%? YOLO, we will get to Doge. Don't worry, we'll get to Doge. There's always room for a bit of Dogecoin in our live streams. Okay. So first thing I want to talk about is we have another Fed meeting coming towards us like an express train. Wednesday next week is when the Fed Open Markets Committee convenes again, and we have almost certainly we certainly do have another interest rate rise on our hands, and it is pretty much nailed on to be 75 basis points as per usual these days. So another interest rate rise coming in less than a week's time, Wednesday. So a lot of people talking about a possible Fed pivot. Not this year, folks. Very, very unlikely, I'm afraid. I am fed up. Very good, very good. That's actually the title of a very good book about the Fed I've just been reading called Fed Up. Anyway, I've talked about that before. Okay, so Jerome Powell hasn't really changed his tone on fighting inflation, folks. So we're going to have an interest rate rise in just under a week's time. And we will almost certainly there's one more Fed meeting that's in December. I think it's December the 12th, if I remember rightly. So we'll have one more Fed meeting after that before the end of the year. That, I imagine, well, depends on the next set of inflation figures. I imagine we'll see something like 50 to 75 basis point rise then too, which will mean as we go into 2023, the interest rates in the US will be well over 4%. And I think the kind of target range is somewhere between 4.25 and 4.5%. Now, that is a huge, huge hike since this time last year. And I just keep thinking, folks, just 2022, just it will not stop, will it? It just won't quit this year. I feel. I think there's a quote from Lenin, actually. Is it Lenin who says, "Yeah, there are decades when nothing happens, and years when decades happen." And I think this is definitely one of those. This 2022 has just been crazy. Was it Lennon or John Lennon? Anyhow, Big Lebowski reference there. Okay, so like I say, Jerome Powell, I don't think is going to change his tone on fighting inflation. That is what the Fed is committed to. Another rate rise coming up, and it's not just the Fed, folks. The Bank of Canada, those lunatics, they hiked 50 basis points yesterday. Canadians are apparently starting to. I have this firsthand from a Canadian friend of mine. Canadians are starting to get real worried about the housing market. Obviously, interest rates have a big effect on that. And I think the Bank of England is, well, we all know what a state the UK is in. But yeah, interest rates are going up there as well. The ECB, I think just earlier today, the ECB hiked 75 bips. I think it was, to 2%. And frankly, the ECB is lagging behind. It kind of needs to get a move on if it's going to tame inflation. But unfortunately, that means a lot more pain for folks in Europe. But there we are. Okay. How are we all doing in the comments, by the way? Are you keeping up? How's morale? Okay, so that is the Fed. And look, folks, these interest rate rises, they take quite a long time to be felt in the system. So the Fed and others will keep raising interest rates, and I think they are going to be very, very careful not to make the same mistake that the Fed made back in the 1970s. It hiked rates way, way up, way higher than we are now, and inflation sort of started to tail off. So they started dropping interest rates, and inflation went back up again. And I think central bank officials all over the world are going to be very, very keen to avoid that sort of mistake this time. So even if we do see inflation going down, then don't expect interest rates to suddenly come tumbling down straight away either. I think 2023, we'll almost certainly see probably more rate rises, and those interest rates will stay high for the whole year. That's the timeline I'm looking at. So yeah, buckle up for 2023, folks, as well. Sean Franny, when can we retire? Sean, no, not anytime soon, I'm afraid. You're just going to have to keep grafting away for the time being, I'm afraid, old chap. Sorry about that. Kitten Power, when moon? Again, see my earlier comment to Sean. Not for a while. Okay, how are we all doing? Okay, right. So I was going to talk to you about a big macro factor to watch out for. Now, I think this is going to be one of the most significant factors moving markets, moving stock markets, gold markets, crypto markets, you name it. I think this is going to be huge over the next few months, and I think it's going to be perhaps one of the big stories of 2023, and that is, drum roll, housing. Yeah, folks, I think property is going to be an enormous factor, enormous macro factor to watch over the next year or so, because we've seen data that is showing that house price growth is slowing down big time. And obviously now all this stuff that I've been talking about, interest rates, and this is something that's been talked about a lot back in the UK at the moment as well. Obviously, as interest rates go up and up and up, and people come off their fixed rate mortgages, their fixed rate mortgage terms expire, and they have to move on to adjustable rate mortgages, or try and get a new fixed mortgage deal. They are going to find that those mortgage payments, those monthly payments, are going to go up so much. And this on top of rising energy bills, just kind of rising cost of living in general, it is bad news for all markets, but I think it's going to be most felt in the property sector. I think we're going to see much fewer people taking out mortgages because they're just going to be unaffordable. I mean, who's going to want to take on who's going to want to take on a mortgage that maybe, sort of 5, 6, 7%? and you know, who's going to want to take that on in the middle of everything else that is going on? And yeah, I think we could be. And again, my friend who's been in Canada recently has said that he's been seeing this over the part. He's been away for a long time, but he was back last week whilst I was away, and he was saying, yeah, you're really seeing it in Canada. A lot of people who kind of bought houses near the top are now seeing the value of those houses really start to plummet. So we're going to see a lot of people in negative equity. I think we're just going to see a slowdown in the housing market in general. Obviously, conditions aren't great for house builders at the moment either. So I think this could be the big depressing macro story of 2023, folks, the property sector. And obviously, it's under threat in a lot of countries. New Zealand's property sector is red hot. Canada's is looking pretty bad at the moment. Obviously, things aren't great in the US and China as well. China's property sector, let's even go there. Another reason why I won't probably be going to China anytime soon. So there we are, folks. That is something you need to have on your radar. Lemon, do you hold lunk? No, I do not. And yes, I don't personally recommend it. But lots and lots of questions. I always see people asking questions about lunk, Lunar Classic and the new Lunar and stuff. Oh, by the way, did people listen to Laura Shin talking to Do Kwon? That came out. That was my poolside listen over in Zanzibar. That was a very good interview. I thought Laura did a really good job of kind of holding him to account, asking the difficult questions. But it seemed like a difficult balance because he seemed willing to talk, but obviously there were things that he was holding back on a lot. And I thought Laura Shin, I thought she did a really good job of kind of getting him to talk, getting him to open up, but also asking him some of those hard questions. So do give it a listen, folks, and I'd be interested to hear what all of you thought of it as well. He still obviously is. We still don't know where he is. Obviously, he's saying that's for his own sort of personal safety. But yeah, it's a mess, and there are still a lot of questions around that. I didn't find all of his answers wholly satisfactory. Let's put it like that. But it's a very good interview, and of course, Unchained, Laura Shin's podcast is brilliant anyway. So I do recommend you give it a watch. I think he may have gone on some other podcasts as well. I think maybe Do Kwon just felt the need to talk. So do see if you can catch him on any of those, because yeah, he has a lot to talk about. Mr. Woody, I love the owl in the corner. Jerome, you're getting a lot of love at the moment. How do you feel about that? Good. Sorry, TikTok, you can't see him. There he is. It's just the way we've got the camera angled. But yeah, he's there and he sends you his best. Such a soothing voice. Thank you very much. A lot of people say that. At the moment, I must say I'm recovering from a cold, so my voice is a little sort of huskier than usual. But one of the things that I get when people come up to me, they're always really, really nice. But I have noticed a trend of women, especially, who come up to me and they go, "No, just before you get ahead of yourselves, folks." They always say something along the lines of, "My husband goes to sleep listening to your voice every single night." Which I'm never quite sure whether to take that as a compliment or not. But it's always nice to hear. I can, maybe that's a Cardano owl. Ah, good. Well, I've got another owl kicking around. Maybe I can rename him. Yeah. So yes, nice voice to sing. Yeah, I could listen to you read a phone book. Patchcorn Adams, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it's good to know that if the whole crypto thing goes down the tubes, maybe I've got a future career reading sort of as a cure for insomnia or something like that. Just reading those relaxing sleep books, or what are they? Those meditation things. I think my mum sometimes listens to those, or just audiobooks just to go off to sleep. Anyhow, I'm wandering off the top. Woody with a better voice. Where else do you stream live, Guy? I'm streaming live on TikTok at the moment, and also Coinbureau Clips, which is our second YouTube channel. So Coinbureau Clips is where we kind of try a few things out. It's where we do live streams. It's where if I've got an idea for a sort of slightly shorter, a bit more perhaps wacky video or something like that, that we can sort of turn around a bit quicker, because the main channel videos take a lot of work to do. Yeah, Coinbureau Clips is like our sort of testing ground. And we put out, well, that's where the live streams are. What else do we put out on there? I'm gonna do a video hopefully tomorrow about this whole Rishi Sunak crypto bro thing, which leads me absolutely seamlessly on to our new UK Prime Minister. I saw a lot about this in the crypto media over the past few days. If anyone, oh, sorry, Rachel, my first home was purchased in 1998 and my interest rate was 1998 and my first interest rate was 7.5%. So I think we've just been spoiled by the ultra low interest rates over the past decade. Yeah, I think you're right there, Rachel. And this is something my dad said to me when I was sort of saying, oh, you know, so many people of my generation, and particularly generations below me, kind of struggle to get on the property ladder. And he was like, well, Guy, back when your mother and I moved into to the house that you were born in, you know, interest rates were double figures, I think he was saying. So yeah, you don't know you're born, in other words. But yeah, certainly, certainly the era of low interest rates has been very good for a lot of people. And well, could it be coming to an end for the foreseeable future? Could we be entering a sort of prolonged period of high interest rates? I don't know. I think we've certainly got, there's certainly a chance of that. But I think, you know, central banks and people like that, I think they're so addicted to cheap money, they're so addicted to quantitative easing, to just flooding the system with money when the going gets tough. I reckon that they will be absolutely desperate to get interest rates back down as soon as they're confident that inflation really has been tamed. But who knows? Perhaps we could be in line for a long period of high interest rates, and yeah, that's going to be a shock to the system for a lot of people. But, well, yes, lower house prices, yeah, certainly just mean if you can get a mortgage, I suppose. Anyway, okay, so new crypto bro Prime Minister for the UK. If you've been keeping up with the UK, you basically know that the UK government is basically playing a game of musical chairs at the moment. And the last Prime Minister didn't do very well. She was in power for about 45 days, so less than 2 months. And in that time, she managed to completely tank the economy. The pound went into free fall, nearly got to parity with the dollar. The UK bond market went absolutely crazy. And the result is everyone in the UK has gotten pretty badly wrecked, apart from all the rich people who the government were trying to cut taxes for, because, hey, they always need a bit of a leg up, don't they? So that was Liz Truss. She is now out the door, consigned to the old dustbin of history. So the Conservative Party had to decide whose turn it was. And so it was Rishi Sunak who actually lost to Liz Truss in the last leadership election. But his time has very much come. And it's quite interesting, actually. So Rishi Sunak is, for those of you who don't know, he's only 42. So he's I think, the youngest prime minister in centuries. And he is a former Goldman Sachs guy. There's a lot of them about, aren't there? He's a former Goldman Sachs guy, hedge fund dude, and he's also, this is my favorite statistic about our new prime minister, he's also richer than the king. It is actually true. He's worth something in the region of like north of 700 million pounds, which I think is in the region of $800 million, or maybe $700 million with the way the pound was going at one point. But yeah, so he's fantastically rich. And I must say, like, I don't know, he seems like a kind of slightly safer pair of hands. Obviously, he seems to have a better grasp of economics than his predecessor. He used to be Chancellor of the Exchequer. He was Chancellor of the Exchequer for a long time. A lot of people seem to think he did an amazing job during COVID. I'm not entirely convinced on that, but perhaps he did a better job perhaps than some more recent Chancellors of the Exchequer might have done. And obviously the crypto media has been getting very excited because he is apparently pro-crypto and just a kind of tech bro in general. And yeah, he said earlier this year that he was keen to make the UK a kind of global crypto asset hub. I think that was the term he used. And we had all sorts of exciting stuff. We were promised an NFT by the Royal Mint. Yay! More NFTs, which we haven't actually got yet. Now, the important thing to say about Rishi Sunak, I think, is, well, there are a few important things. For one thing, you know, this government is kind of it's kind of lurching from one crisis to another. So I'm not quite sure how long he's going to be in his post. I think he will probably last a little bit longer than his predecessor, at least. We're not due a general election in the UK until 2025, I think. So if he can last till then, but he's sure got a lot on his plate. And this kind of ties into what to the whole crypto thing, really. A lot of people getting excited that he might suddenly turn the UK into some sort of crypto land, make it the next El Salvador. It's like, it's not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. There is just too much on the UK government's plate at the moment. Some really serious stuff. Obviously, the stuff I alluded to with rising interest rates and cost of living and stuff like that. But, you know, there are genuinely people going hungry. There are children going hungry all across the UK at the moment. And that is, I think, far more pressing. And, you know, I think that is something that that the Prime Minister needs to address far more urgently than turning the UK necessarily into a crypto hub, much as I would like to see that happen in the future. Now, something that I did notice actually was because he came in just in the last couple of days or so, and because he does seem to be viewed by the markets as being kind of more competent economically, the pound actually bounced. The pound actually rallied pretty well. Now, as you'll probably have noticed, the US dollar has been really, really strong of late. It has been the safe haven asset. And I think this is a big reason of why we've seen the crypto market struggling recently, is because a lot of people have been selling off into dollars. Now, I think this is, now call me crazy, but I think perhaps it's this bounce in the pound. Now, remember, the dollar strength is measured against a whole basket of other currencies, one of which is, of course, the GBP. And so I wonder perhaps if the pound's new strength has helped to kind of temper the dollar strength a little bit, and just sort of bring USD down a bit, and maybe that has helped fuel the rally in the crypto markets a little bit. What do you think? It's not impossible, folks. You could have the UK to thank for the current bear market rally in the crypto markets. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank me later. Thank us later. Yes, Tiberiu, yes, someone pointing out in the comments on clips there, he is pro CBDC. That was something else I wanted to point out, and that's something I'm going to put in this video that I'm making for the Clips channel tomorrow. Yes, Rishi Sunak, he may perhaps be pro crypto, but he is certainly very, very pro central bank digital currencies. And there is a video of him on YouTube. If you type in Rishi Sunak CBDC, it's a presentation he was doing for the World Economic Forum, if I remember. Yep, he's another WEF guy, a bit like Liz Truss was. And yeah, he's talking all about CBDCs. And the last thing I'll say about Rishi Sunak is he's clearly a very smart guy. His presentation is just absolutely dreadful. He is so kind of wooden. He speaks like a guy, you know, at a kind of team building weekend, doing a presentation at a team building weekend. I can only really watch him for about 30 seconds at a time before I cringe too much. Anyhow, that's my pet peeve. I'm sure the guy's very smart, and yeah, I wish him all the best because he's going to need it. So that's the UK, folks. Now, another thing I want to talk about, I am going to get on to some more sort of crypto-specific things soon. How are we doing in the comments at the moment? Do we know if Sunak holds BTC? I don't know. I mean, he's got so much money. I'm sure he could hoover up a few BTC and not even notice it. He's married to the daughter of an Indian billionaire. Aptos, I'm getting to that. I will talk about Aptos very shortly. And thanks everyone for sending the waves through as well. I agree. Sounds like Tony Blair. Yeah, Tony. I think Tony Blair kind of makes Rishi Sunak look like Winston Churchill. I've got to say, it's that bad. Mind you, Liz Truss was terrible as well. She was like a an android whose batteries have run really low. It was painful. Okay, so how are we all doing? Sorry. What is that? What's it APT that? So hot recently. Yes, APT has been hot recently. So hot right now. I'm going to talk about that in just a baby Aptos. Thanks me later. Macy is an Aptos insider. Oh yes, did you see that Q&A? Yeah, Macy met one of the Aptos team. And was very taken with him. Very, very smart guy, apparently. And I have to say, Macy made some money on Aptos. So well done, Macy. So that that naturally means I'm not well disposed towards Aptos. Not if Macy made some money on it. That will never do. Okay, so the other thing, so another big thing. Now, this is surprising, really. I don't really see this reflected in the crypto charts at the moment in the crypto market, but we've had some absolutely terrible earnings calls for some of the big tech companies this week, and the latest was Meta's earnings, Q3 earnings calls, absolutely eye-watering. Now, what's it down? It's down 4% on last year, which doesn't sound all that bad. Obviously, the cuts on ad spending, it's kind of being hurt by the sort of wider macro environment. The cuts on ad spending have hit Meta, Facebook, etc., particularly hard, and also Alphabet, Google's parent company. Facebook shares are down 18% since that announcement. Its metaverse division, now this is obviously very relevant to crypto, Facebook's metaverse division lost $3.7 billion in Q3. It's just a bottomless pit of money. And I was talking about this with one of my colleagues here at coinbureau earlier today, and we were just talking about how much of a gamble this whole metaverse push by, well, Meta is now. And like you can obviously, I kind of agree with Mark Zuckerberg to an extent that, if you can sort of capture the metaverse, you can basically just make unlimited money. But it is a huge gamble. And I think people are really kind of waking up to the fact that they don't want a Facebook metaverse. I think a lot of people are kind of waking up to the fact that they don't want a metaverse full stop. But they certainly don't want a Facebook metaverse. And I don't think a lot of people want a Microsoft metaverse anyway. And I must say, I don't want a horrible sort of corporate metaverse. I mean, even though they will probably look a lot better than the decentralized ones out there for a while, I still don't want the metaverse to be all corporate. It'd be horrible. I mean, I think it's I think the metaverse is a cool idea. It could be amazing. I think there are some good things about the metaverse and some very, very bad things. And I think Facebook and Microsoft certainly fall into that latter category. Anyway, the metaverse so far is not making Meta any money. It's costing it absolutely billions. So yeah, it will remain to be seen whether Meta kind of keeps up with that push. And yeah, I noticed that this latest fall has wiped another $10 billion off Mark Zuckerberg's net worth. And apparently now what is it? I noted it down here. Apparently he's already lost $70 billion from his net worth, which suggests he was probably far too wealthy to begin with. But that is just absolutely eye-watering, isn't it? And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to cry a single tear for Mark Zuckerberg's net worth, but it is pretty eye-opening, those losses. And I must admit, folks, I am a bit surprised. We also saw Microsoft and Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, obviously, as I said, they had bad Q3 results this week as well. Google's profits are down 27%. Yikes. Now, I'm a bit surprised, obviously, because one of the themes of the last year or so has been the fact that crypto and tech stocks have been so kind of annoyingly correlated. And I must say, I'm surprised that these earnings calls haven't kind of dragged the crypto market down with them. My only kind of explanation for that must be, I think, that probably these bad earnings calls were already priced in. Because let's face it, who was seriously expecting any of these tech companies to be making big money in the kind of economic conditions that we're in at the moment? I think, yeah, you'd have been pretty high on hopium to be thinking that would be the case. So perhaps they already priced in. But yeah, I think the crypto market seems to have slightly got away with it regarding these tech earnings calls. And it doesn't stop there, folks, because Credit Suisse, I saw today, is slashing 9,000 jobs. This is something I didn't know this about Credit Suisse, actually. It employs, at the moment, around 52,000 people across the world. Seriously big company. Obviously, that's now about to shrink to around 43,000. And apparently, the Saudis are kind of lining up to get themselves a nice big chunk of that. And obviously, this is because Credit Suisse's investment arm, who apparently seem to be a complete bunch of degens, have lost Credit Suisse billions upon billions. It's all about where are all these billions going? Yeah, so there's lots of kind of dodgy macro news out there, folks. But let's talk a little bit more about crypto, because let's try and get to the Pakistan lost to Zimbabwe in the T20 World Cup. No, surely not. Really? Anyway, okay, sorry. That can't be true. Fazil, are you sure? Are you? Well, anyhow. Okay. So, right. It's just completely put me off. Okay, now I think one of the reasons why we've seen this big rally in the markets, especially in ETH, because let's have another look at that on the chart. I mean, ETH is the big gainer here. Almost nothing, apart from a few shit coins, has really got close to ETH. And I think a big part of that rally was this announcement by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the good old CFTC, on Tuesday, I think it was. They basically came out and said, their chairman came out and said, BTC and ETH are commodities and not securities. And this is obviously very good news coming from a US regulatory body. Obviously, folks, we kind of need the other big US regulatory body, the SEC, to kind of agree with the CFTC on that, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. Gary Gensler and co. obviously still consider ETH to be a security, it would seem. And this is interesting to note, because I think the SEC is very, very keen to avoid setting a precedent. And I think this could be one big reason why it's not coming out and sort of agreeing with the CFTC on the fact that ETH is a commodity. It doesn't want to set a precedent. Obviously, the SEC is locked in this never-ending court case with Ripple, which is ticking towards year 3. So yes, obviously, if it sets a precedent by admitting that ETH is a commodity and not a security, that could perhaps harm its case against other crypto projects that it is either going after at the moment or has got in its sights. And I still think we've got a lot more to come from the SEC on the regulatory front, folks. They just seem to be on the warpath at the moment. And yeah, the fact that the CFTC and the SEC just can't agree with each other over ETH just kind of says what a mess the US regulatory landscape is in at the moment. I mean, come on, guys, you've got to have a united front. Otherwise, what sort of clarity have we got? It's crazy. Anyhow, okay. So it looks like Pakistan did lose that match against Zimbabwe. That is crazy. Who saw that coming? The bottom of this bear market trend possibly hit this year. Possibly. So many people I'm talking to are kind of agree with me, folks, that think we have still got lower to go from here. And look, this rally over the last few days has been really, really nice to see. It does seem to me that it is kind of starting to run out of steam a little bit. This is a real classic bear market rally in a lot of ways, folks. So, don't think you're going to be able to ride this one all the way to the moon. I think we could see a correction pretty soon on this rally, but don't let that dampen your spirits on this green day nonetheless, folks. We should enjoy these little rallies while they last, because otherwise how else do you get through the bear market? And can anyone, I've talked about my kind of bear market coping strategies a little bit before on various streams and in various videos. Can people in the comments sort of put, if any of you guys have got some really kind of out there bear market coping strategies that I won't have heard of, please put them in the comments. Anyhow, okay, so what else crypto related? Fidelity is increasing the size of its crypto division, apparently. It's hiring around 100 staff. Well, I mean, all I can really say on that one, folks, is it seems a very strange time to be doing that. Not quite sure why, unless Fidelity knows something that the rest of us don't. But this seems to me to be a very strange time to be hiring, and especially for people, you know, in kind of crypto-facing jobs at big asset managers or banks or wherever it is. So perhaps Fidelity knows something that we don't. Singapore. Now, this was interesting. This was something I noticed earlier on today. Singapore is proposing to ban retail traders from conducting leverage trades in crypto, leverage crypto trading. Now, obviously, Singapore has kind of been setting itself up a little bit like Dubai has, you know, to be a kind of very crypto-friendly jurisdiction, but obviously got really kind of badly burned by so many of these things that went under earlier this year were Singapore-based. Obviously, 3 Arrows Capital is the big one, but there were also the likes of Vold and what was the other one? Hodlnaut as well. So I think Singapore has kind of got its fingers burned by crypto a little bit. What do you guys think of the? Oh, hang on. Have we got any bear market coping strategies, by the way? Perhaps Fidelity is just a bunch of boomers. Okay. Multiple income streams. Is that a bear market coping strategy? Because that's a damn good one. Multiple income streams, folks. There you are. There you are, Danielle. Good on you. Good on you. So yes, what do you guys think of Singapore? Do you think retail traders should be banned from leverage trading on crypto? It's a bit heavy-handed, if you ask me. That said, I am not a fan of leverage trading, and anyone who's watched any of my streams before or watched the channel before will know that I do not encourage it, folks. Only trade with leverage if you really know what you're doing. It is for the pros. It is not for, it is not for you know, your everyday trader. So do be careful of leverage trading, folks. That said, an actual outright ban on what retail traders can do does seem to me a bit heavy-handed. It's the kind of thing, you know, it's a kind of slippery slope, I think. If you start banning retail traders from doing one thing, what's to stop you banning them from doing other things as well? So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about that. I think people should self-regulate, really. If you don't understand leverage trading, if you think that if you realize that it's a pretty easy way, what's it someone said, there are 3 good ways to lose money: ladies, liquor, and leverage. So there you go. So yeah, I think people really should look to regulate themselves when it comes to that sort of thing. A few other anyway, moving on. I know. All right, I think it's probably time to talk about Aptos, isn't it? The other things I noticed was I saw a couple of charts that said more and more people are still hodling. Retail is yet to capitulate. So that is something that could still be on the horizon. Bitcoin difficulty, this was an interesting one. Bitcoin difficulty recently set a new all-time high, which is kind of mind-blowing, really, I think, considering how how difficult mining is at the moment, because of obviously climbing electricity bills. Obviously, there's competition as well. Now, this difficulty all-time high, this could mean that some of, especially the smaller miners, just ain't able to do it anymore, which could lead to selling. Which could be, which could put some downward pressure on BTC's price and therefore the rest of the crypto market as well. So do keep a lookout. Do keep a very close eye on what miners are doing, folks, because it is often a very good bellwether for what is happening for what is going to happen later on in the crypto market. So I think that new Bitcoin difficulty all-time high, that could be a big factor later on. So keep an eye on that. Okay, right, Aptos. Here we go. Now, I should, someone's just sent me, thank you, Charles Hootskinson. Jerome, I'm going to call you, but I'll bring Charles Hootkinson. That's his name. That's got to be his name. Charles Hootkinson will be making his debut in next week's live stream. I will introduce you then. But Jerome Owl here, I'm afraid his name has to stay because it's so good. Best of luck with the new PM. Thank you, Dread. Okay, so okay, Aptos. Right. Now, I should preface this by saying me and my research team have been very hard at work on this over the last few days. We have a video coming out about Aptos, and we are going to push it pretty much directly after this stream. So in the next, goodness me, it's 10:02. I'm going to have to finish up in about 10 minutes. We'll be pushing this video very, very shortly, folks, on our main YouTube channel, YouTube/coinbureau. So do keep a lookout, folks. So I'm going to give you a few kind of thoughts from that video, but I do encourage you to watch the whole thing over on our main channel, folks, because there is a lot of information there. And I just want to say, before I say anything else, absolute kudos to the research guys here at Coin Bureau who have helped me with that video. They have done some serious digging on Aptos. So Aptos, in a nutshell, folks, I am not a fan. Okay, sorry if I'm sorry to any Aptos fans out there. It is in many ways an amazing project. It has an incredible amount of backing. It has some pretty cutting edge tech, and we weren't really able to go to dive too much into the tech in the video that we've just done on it, because that is such a rabbit hole. So if you are an Aptos fan, you know, we'll leave some links in the video that you can, in the video description, that you can dig in. I am, yeah, like I say, Aptos, I'm very skeptical, I have to say. It raised a ton of money, but it raised a ton of money without a white paper and without tokenomics. And that to me is just insane. Just insane. Anyhow, that's not necessarily Aptos's fault. That's the fault of the VCs, who threw money at it, basically. It was a tough one to research. They are not very transparent, very, very little transparency. It was difficult to find a lot of information. It was really difficult to turn up things like interviews with the founders, documentation, tokenomics, all this sort of stuff. And remember, folks, the guys who are developing Aptos, there are two guys in particular who are the kind of head honchos. They are clearly uber smart dudes, very, very clever. They did used to work for DM, however, which, as you'll recall, was Facebook's absolute catastrophe of a crypto project. And they did, one of them did kind of say that they viewed Aptos as a kind of continuation of the DM project. And that, for me, is a massive, massive red flag. Yikes. What else about Aptos? It's a kind of unclear what its actual kind of end game is. The founders, again, in the few interviews that they've done, have been kind of vague. Ryan Selkis, did anyone go to Masari mainnet? I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately, but Ryan Selkis was talking to the mainnet and was sort of, along the lines of like, guys, what do you want to specialize in? Are you going to do NFTs? What's it going to be? And they were just sort of like, nah, it's going to do everything. It's like, really? Okay. I mean, they've certainly got the funding for it. They've certainly got the tech for it. But I think you need a lot more of a focused goal than that. We don't know. It's centralized AF, folks. Around 102 validators last time we checked. That figure may have changed, but that is not very many validators. I know there are lots of other crypto projects, some of which I am keen on myself, that also have very low numbers of validators. So, bear that in mind. But yeah, Aptos does not seem to be all that bothered about decentralization at all. And we don't know who runs these validators either. We just couldn't find out. We could not find who is actually running Aptos's validator nodes, and that is. And there is also a pretty big chance now, as far as I could see, APT just seems to tick so many of the SEC's boxes. And I'm kind of amazed why the SEC isn't going after Aptos. Perhaps it will, but also perhaps it's worth pointing out, folks, as I say, Aptos has some absolutely incredible backing. Binance and FTX are both behind it. 3 Arrows Capital was also behind it as well. But yeah, Aptos does have some amazing backing. So those powerful backers may be enough to protect it from regulators, but I think there is a big regulatory risk to Aptos as well. So yeah, like I say, I have to take my, you have to give credit where it's due. Like I say, Aptos does have amazing tech. It does seem to have an enormous team of developers working on it. Clearly, some very, very clever people. And let's face it, some people, APT itself is up over the week. So don't necessarily, none of what I've just said is financial advice, folks. So what I'd urge you to do is to watch our video on Aptos coming out a little later on today on our main channel. Do give me your thoughts on that. But folks, listen, I always say about the content we put out here at Coin Bureau, don't just take our word for it, folks. If if you're not sure, if you disagree with anything that I say in the Aptos, about Aptos in general, then go digging yourself, do your own research, folks, and check it out. Coin Bureau should not be your absolute first and only port of call when doing research. So I fully appreciate that many people may disagree with me about Aptos, and of course a lot of these things I've said about Aptos can be fixed. They can get more validators, they can work on their transparency, they can focus their use cases more. The founders can kind of get out there and sell the project more and be a bit more visible. They can work on their tokenomics. I mean, they have published their tokenomics now, but only after it listed, which again, I think is crazy. I think that's crazy of exchanges to list them as well, all these big exchanges. Anyhow, rant over, folks. So yeah, Aptos, there we are. I imagine some of you are probably thinking, well, I wish I hadn't asked. But there you go. Check it out yourselves, folks. Make your own decisions. You're all grown-ups, I hope. Yeah, do get back to me. Let me know your thoughts on Aptos as well. Maybe they're Macy running to dump her Aptos bag after this. Well, we'll see. Where is Macy? Probably, I don't know. Probably trying to log into her Binance account, I expect. So there we are, folks. We are, goodness me, we're only 4 minutes away from the end of the stream. Okay, so a few people Aptos is literally an industry plant / money grab. Well, that's not for me to say. That's not for me to say. But yeah, I think Aptos has a lot of work to do. Someone's saying link. I'm not sure I've got anything new to say about Link. I talked about Link recently. We're still waiting for Link staking, I think. But other than that, I can't remember. I can't remember seeing anything in particular about Link. But do let me know if I've missed anything. Okay, I wanted to briefly. Oh my goodness, I didn't get anything on to SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. His regulation proposals. I'll just talk about them for the sort of last few minutes of the stream before I sign off and leave you all alone. What do people think? Obviously, now I think personally, I disagreed with a lot of Sam Bankman-Fried's recommendations for crypto regulations, and in fact, I've made a video about it. I think that is going to come out over the weekend, so do keep a lookout for that because I've dug down into them. So all I'll say here, folks, is I heavily disagree with SBF when it comes to things like DeFi and this idea of kind of integrating DeFi and with the financial system and all that sort of stuff. DeFi needs to be protected, and crypto itself needs to be protected. If we integrate it with the existing financial system, then we might as well all go home, folks, because it'll just become like TradFi and it'll just become crap. So, but I think we should put Sam's comments in a little bit of context. I think, they were very much put out there to stimulate debate, and they certainly succeeded on that front. He has also reacted to some of the feedback. He has actually taken some of that feedback on board. Obviously, we had feedback from the likes of Ryan Sean Adams, the Bankless podcast host. Bankless, well worth a listen. The best feedback I saw was from Eric Voorhees. Do you remember Eric Voorhees, the founder of Shapeshift? Now, he wrote a really good kind of rebuttal to SBF's crypto recommendations, and I highly recommend you read it. It's well, it's a long-ish read, but it won't take you long. And you can find that on his Money and State blog, which is www.moneyandstate.com. And that's the most recent article on there. So do check out Eric Voorhees' rebuttal to Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto regulation recommendations. I highly recommend it. Very much worth a read. But yeah, and of course, Sam Bankman-Fried he's in a very strange position, isn't he? Because he's the CEO of one of the biggest exchanges out there. I imagine he's kind of dealing with boring regulatory stuff every single day of his life. And hence, I think we have to listen to him a little bit. And, when it comes to regulations, and I think we have to disagree with him on a number of points. But I think it's definitely I think he's certainly succeeded in stimulating debate all about that. Okay, folks, it's 7 o'clock here. It's on the hour, so it's almost time for me to sign off. Brian, thoughts on the new Prime Minister? I was talking about Rishi Sunak earlier. Yeah, he's better than the last Prime Minister, put it like that. I'm going to do a video about him here on Coinbureau Clips. Hopefully that will be with you tomorrow if I can turn it around quickly enough. Anyhow, thank you very much for joining me, folks. I didn't even get on to talking about Twitter. Obviously, the Twitter deal. Now, someone was asking why Doge is pumping. Doge is pumping because Elon Musk I think his Twitter deal is going through. It looks like Elon Musk is going to take over Twitter, and hence we have the Elon dog pump. There we are. So that's why Doge is doing well. That's probably why SHIB is doing well as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with Twitter if Elon Musk does in fact take control of it. I think it's going to have a big effect on crypto and the wider world as well. We just haven't really got time to talk about it today, folks, because I don't know, maybe I just went in too hard on Aptos and used up all the time. Let it sink in. Yeah, did you see that? Him walking into Twitter's office with a sink? Let it sink in. Wow, all that money, and he still has a really, really weird sense of humor, doesn't he? Let that sink in. Thanks, Elon. So, folks, thank you all for joining me this week. I need to sign off now, but I must say it's great to be back. I missed you whilst I was away on holiday. I hope you missed me too, although I'm sure you found better things to do than to watch me jabber on a live stream, but it's great to be back. Like I say, we have got lots and lots of cool stuff coming up at Coin Bureau in the next few weeks, and hopefully, once my voice is recovered, everything will be back to normal as well. More content, more videos, and lots more interesting stuff besides that. So enjoy the rest of your Thursdays, folks, and I hope you can join me next week. I will be back same time next Thursday, 6 p.m. Dubai time. And I'm sure there'll be lots of lovely things to talk about then. Please do check out that Aptos video over on our main channel. That'll be with you very, very soon. And please do give us your feedback on that as well, because it's really interesting to hear what people have to say about these projects. And, it's obviously our research team worked really, well, they always work really, really hard. But I cannot tell you how deep they had to dig to find some of that Aptos information. So watch it for them, folks. Anyhow, I hope you folks have a wonderful weekend. Look after yourselves and each other, and I will see you all next week. Thank you very much. Oh yes, and yes, I should say, like and subscribe to. I always get in trouble from this from our social media team. I have to say like and subscribe. Clips, like and subscribe. If you enjoyed this, I do them every Thursday, mostly. Like and subscribe. TikTok, if you're watching this and you enjoyed it, and you think my voice is nice, and you think I've got a beauty filter on, then you like and subscribe as well. Don't go anywhere without liking and subscribing. That's told you. All right. That's enough from me. Thank you very much, folks. Lovely to see you as always. See you next week. Ciao. Okay. And bye-bye, everyone.